executive platinum, emerald, sapphire.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host, and I'm really pleased to welcome back the dogged Lee Harris. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks, Ria. How about yourself?
Good. As we've said before, every morning you wake up is a good one.
Indeed, especially if you've had a cup of coffee first as well.
If I don't have that every morning, let me tell you, even my children, they know, do not speak to mommy until she's had that cup of gold.
Exactly right. Yeah. I mean, it's just not worth starting the day, is it, without it?
Well, I tell you, me in the mornings. It's probably why I'm single. So how has the week been? Oh, I've got to mention that Crew Travel is brought to you by Blue Marine Travel, who haven't lost a passenger since Lee Harris was born back in the 70s.
Exactly right again. Well done.
I know. I practiced that. I'm going to make you say that next time. I think it's your turn next time.
Do you know what? I'll trip over my words. I'll get it completely wrong. I'll say we've lost 100 passengers since last week or something. Something totally horrendous and lose us lots of business.
We've lost every passenger ever.
Yeah. No. Let's not go down that route.
No, they haven't lost any passengers, and they're still going strong and looking after people. And I got to say, you know, we include your LinkedIn information underneath this interview every single week, because when I say the dogged Lee Harris, I mean you're dogged. When it comes to finding out information that's going on in the travel world, there is not a day that goes by that you're not giving at least 30, 40 different pieces of information. You're a very busy man.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, you know, it's just not slowing down, is it? You know, what we're now 13, 14, 15 months in, and every day brings you 5, 6, 7, 8 different pieces of information. And like we said before, some days you'll get some information in the morning, by the afternoon it's all completely changed again. So it's incredibly important, I think, just to get the information out there as quickly as possible.
Yeah, well, and I notice now that there's, you know, some interesting things going on with different travel bubbles and different places being amber and red and green, and you know, that's changing. And then countries are complaining that they've been put on this color list and that color list. And, you know, and then of course, I mean, in China now, there is that new Delta strain that is starting to kick up. And that one is said to be twice as deadly, twice as fast, and takes twice as long to get rid of.
It's just, I mean, it's probably the wrong phrase to use, but it's just fun and games, isn't it? You know, every day brings something new. You think you're getting towards the end, and then something else, you know, just crops up. So, you know, you just have to play the long game, I guess, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it will come to an end at some point.
Well, I got to say, you know, the yachting industry as a whole has now really started to kick off. You know, it did in 2020 for sure in the US, and now I'm starting to see it with my research and in the Med, and crew are few and far between because of all these travel restrictions. But it is looking like yachting as a whole is really heating up, because, you know, where else are you going to self-isolate? And with all these things that are going on, what better way to keep your family safe than go out on the water?
Exactly right. I mean that is the epitome of self-isolation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Out in the water on a yacht. I mean, you're not going to come into contact with anybody else. So yeah, it's probably the perfect place to be.
Well, let's get on with this travel show then, and let everybody know where they can and cannot go. What's going on with Air Lingas?
Yeah, so just quickly talk about these. So Aer Lingus has announced several regional flights have been cancelled after one of its operators ceased trading. The Irish airline was forced to cancel several flights from Dublin and Belfast City airports to UK cities after Stobar Air collapsed on Friday evening. The situation affects a range of flights from Dublin to Kerry, Donegal, Glasgow, Edinburgh and Newquay. Flights from Belfast City Airport to Manchester, Birmingham, Edinburgh, Leeds, Bradford, Exeter and East Midlands have also seen cancellations. Obviously, anyone who has a flight booked with Aer Lingus is strongly advised to either contact their travel provider or the airline directly.
And Italy, news out of there.
Yeah, good news there. So starting from June the 15th, all EU citizens who hold the EU COVID passport will be permitted to visit Italy for tourist reasons, thus meaning they can attend weddings, concerts and go to nightclubs. The EU COVID-19 vaccination passport will serve as evidence of the holder being fully vaccinated with the European Medicine Agency approved vaccines, those being Moderna, AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and Janssen, or they have recovered from the disease, or they have had a negative result within the last 48 hours. The certificate can be used for intra-EU travel from July the 1st and will release travellers from entry, quarantine, or further testing upon arrival. The green pass can be presented either in digital format on a smartphone, for example, or printed out on paper, since it features a unique QR code for verification. This will allow border officials to verify the holder's identification and that the said passenger meets all the requirements to enter the country they are travelling to.
I mean, this is good news for crew too, because, as more and more countries in the EU accept that COVID passport, the vaccination passport, they'll be able to get back to that free movement that they've had before.
They will do indeed. Yeah. I mean, it seems that the EU, they do seem to be having at last some coordinated response to it. It took a while to get there. Previously we're sort of seeing lockdowns and all the rest of it, country by country, but now they do seem to be as a bloc trying to get this whole EU COVID passport in place, which is going to allow, especially with the med season coming up, it's really imperative that it's in place. And from the talk that's out there, by July the 1st, it's going to be there for pretty much all of the EU Schengen countries. And it's going to allow free movement as long as you've got, the vaccination, or you've had your PCR test and it's all loaded into the passport. So fingers crossed, hopefully it should make the med season a lot easier.
Well, and seafarers, are exempt to a lot of things. There was an argument just on social media the other day. Somebody was saying, why are crew on yachts getting vaccinated when we all have to wait our turn and nobody's allowed to get them privately within the EU? But they are termed essential workers to the seafarers. So that's why they're getting vaccinated, which allows them freedom of movement.
Yeah, I mean, it's on a country by country basis, and certain countries do have slight differences with regards to seafarers, especially when it comes to private yachts or charter yachts, and depending on the size of the yacht as well. So there are slight nuances within the countries that you have to be careful of. But again, it just makes sense to get people vaccinated, and like you say, a lot of them are, they are classed as essential. So why shouldn't they have it? Especially if you're talking about a charter and they're taking people out and all the rest of it, it just makes perfect sense to be vaccinated.
Yeah, for sure. Air Europa.
Yeah, so in more good news for crew wishing to travel to Europe for the mid-season, from July, Air Europa expects to fly to 20 out of the 23 Latin American and US destinations it had before the COVID-19 pandemic. The airline expects to have 432 flights operating, which will offer 137,500 seats. Air Europa will be offering flights to and from Paraguay, Colombia, Venezuela, Mexico, the USA, Panama, Dominican Republic, Honduras, Brazil, Ecuador, and Bolivia. Flights will be arriving into and departing from Spain. Also, in further good news for crew wishing to travel to Europe for the mid-season, Aero Mexico this week also announced an increase in flights to and from Europe. The airline will increase flights from Mexico City to France, Spain, and the Netherlands. These will all begin from June the 13th.
That is exciting news. It's just the more sort of air highways that open up, just the ease to get around is growing. And after a year of, I remember this time last year, I mean, in order to get anywhere, you had to take, 10 different flights and layovers in different weird countries. And it was just a nightmare to get where you wanted to go. But more and more pathways are opening up.
Oh, they certainly are, and I think it shows a growing confidence in the vaccines as well, that, that the airlines are prepared to now start to look to expand their networks and get them back to some kind of level, clearly not to the levels they were before COVID hit, but certainly to an acceptable level, which makes travel a lot easier. Yeah.
Russia's got some good news. Well, interesting news.
It's interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of things with Russia are, aren't they? Russia obviously was the first country in the world to certify a COVID vaccine, the development of its Sputnik V formula. But with low uptake rates domestically, the Russian Union of Travel Industry is developing a complete holiday package for guests to visit, vaccinate, and tour the best of Russia. And they're hoping to have this launched by the end of this month. The president of the Russian Union of Travel Industry said that preparations to launch such packages were almost ready. However, he noted that still a couple of issues with eligibility for passengers to enter the country need to be ironed out. The tour would include accommodation in Russia for the 3-week period, and prices would range from $1,500 to $2,500 US. However, they would exclude the airfare cost. It was also indicated that this would be more of a tour than just a holiday.
3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks. From what I gather, it's basically you tour different parts of Russia. You don't stay in one area. You travel around Russia, seeing all the highlights. And then at some point during those 3 weeks, they're going to stick a needle in your arm.
So is it, you know what, I find it really interesting, but I don't think that they're the first, but I think there's another country that is doing sort of this, I don't know, jab and travel kind of package as well.
Yeah, I think we talked about it previously. Actually, if I remember, I think it was Phuket. I think they're the ones who are trying to entice travelers over by giving them a vaccination holiday, so to speak.
Strange times we live in. Who would have thought? Weird.
Go to a foreign country, to have a needle put in your arm. It's just crazy.
Yay! Go me. Singapore Airlines.
Yeah, so Singapore Airlines have announced that starting from July the 16th, it will resume flights from its hub at Singapore Airport to Manchester Airport in the United Kingdom. On the 3 weekly flights, the Asian carrier will deploy one of its 55 new Airbus A350 aircraft. Flights from Singapore to Manchester will operate on Wednesdays, Fridays and Saturdays, with the return flights from Manchester to Singapore operating on Mondays, Thursdays and Saturdays. Obviously, this has always been an extremely popular route with UK-based crew who live in the north of England, and will come as a welcome relief to see it back on the schedules.
And United Arab Emirates.
Yeah, unfortunately, United Arab Emirates has extended its Indian travel ban once again, as cases in the country remain high and with dangerous variants in circulation. Both Emirates and Air India Express have confirmed the extension, which began on April the 24th. The ban has been extended for a further week now, running through until the 6th of July. I think probably the important part here is that it's only been extended for 1 week, whereas previously it's either been a month or at least 2 weeks. I think hopefully, fingers crossed, and this is just my point of view, don't take it as gospel, but with them only extending it a week, I would imagine it's likely coming towards an end now.
Well, I've had my first shot and I've got my second one coming up on the 17th and I'll be fully vaccinated. So, but then again, I mean, you know, are we going to need more vaccines after that? Like different vaccines, because it's a different strain. I mean, nobody really has the answers to that. So it's an interesting world we live in.
It is. It's extremely. I was going to ask. I mean, how did you feel afterwards, Ria? Because obviously here in New Zealand, we're probably going to be one of the last to get the vaccine. I think we're looking at probably December before it's rolled out to the general public of my age anyway. So how did you feel after you had yours?
Well, I mean, my arm was numb, and it was quite painful for about 3 days afterwards. But that was it. Like there was nothing else. But they say that after the second one, that if you're going to have any experiences, it probably will be after the second one. So I'll let you know next Sunday.
We'll check in with you and find out.
Yeah. If my head explodes or something, then,
Hopefully not live on air.
Well, that'd be great TV, actually, wouldn't it?
It would be. I mean, you'd go viral at least.
Totally. I mean, there's a way to go out.
I mean, that's great. That's great advertisement for Blue Marine Travel as well. I mean, we will get hundreds of hits.
Oh wait, so you're kind of hoping my head would explode on screen?
I mean, every cloud has a silver lining.
Oh, I just love all the love and support. So special. And we had crew questions this week.
We did indeed. Yeah. Robert, who is based in the UK, has emailed in wanting to know where UK seafarers who are fully vaccinated can travel to in Europe for holiday. Obviously, Robert, the situation changes quite regularly, but as of this time of the interview, you're free to travel as a tourist to any of the following countries. That would be Denmark, Spain, Portugal, Ireland, Italy, Cyprus, and Iceland. On top of these, you can also visit the Faroe Islands and Gibraltar without the need to quarantine on arrival. However, just remember, when you travel back to the UK, you have to check whether green, amber, or red where you've traveled to.
Nice. Iceland's a country?
Iceland is a country. And a shop in the UK.
I know. You know what? I've seen that on social media before. I got to say, those are the ones that make me question, I don't know, the human intelligence completely, because There's been a couple where I've seen people thinking that Iceland is literally a shop in the UK, and that's it. It is what it is, right? So Lee, we're going to make sure to provide your link underneath this. And of course, I will provide that link, unlike last week.
Apologize, Ria. Clearly, I was just too busy updating everybody on LinkedIn. That's what it was.
Yeah, and I asked you twice, and then I just thought, you know what? If he's not going to give me the information, forget it. Can't be bothered.
I do apologize.
Thanks, Lee. We really appreciate your time and the information provided. You've been watching another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host. We'll see you again next week.